Welcome to the Shulamite Podcast, an extension of Shulamite Ministries and Shulamite.com, with weekly interviews and teaching with author and speaker Martha Kilpatrick and hosted by John Enslow. This weekly podcast is a way to stay connected to the ministry. So come experience anointed messages, not giving just another method, but a living impartation.
Well, since I've referred to my long wilderness, I believe that this revelation came through with this enormous power and light and the specific words and insights and revelation. I think the real issue of my long illness has been to show me, to reduce me to nothing in order to show me that I am nothing. And it's been a long process where I could do nothing. I've often said I was so sick I couldn't pick a pen up off the floor.
But it was all so that he could be everything.
Yes.
And
he was everything.
And he was. He absolutely was. The entire time he did everything for you.
I wrote probably my largest book, Altogether Forgiven, while I was sick, trashed, unable, and it flowed like a river. And then it was gone. My only strength during this time has been what God gives me when he deigns for me to achieve something. Otherwise, I am nothing. I am nothing and I can do nothing. And that has been the lesson of this long. It's the cross. The cross reduces us and kills. The something I wanted to be was very right. I wanted to be a servant of the Lord. I wanted to fulfill my destiny. And I was wanting, and my doctors would say, what is it you want? Because I would say, I'm not feeling well yet. I'm not feeling well. And they said, what do you want to do if you were feeling well? And I knew they were just, kind of giving me a chance to vent. Oh, I would garden and I would write and I would work in my house and I would decorate and I would write and I would go and I would speak and I would travel. And they would say, okay. And God bless them. They did everything to get me to this place where I can live that kind of life. But I didn't realize until I started telling this about my illness that it was the graveyard of my need and compulsion and effort and assume that I should do, which would be something for God. No, I'm to be nothing. The nothing I am. And the reason this could flow so loudly, so brilliantly, so richly was because I have finally admitted, and I've always known it, I'm nothing. I've said it many times before. But this time, I'm willing, because I know that I don't have to be anything. I am nothing. One who has given everything so richly during this time. People helped me with outlandish joy that shocked me. People took care of me. Everything was done for me. Things were repaired in my house that never get repaired. On and on I could go. That because I was nothing, he poured everything, including joy, through those who helped me. And it just was a continuing wonder and amazement that he really was a God taking care of me.
And I think that Martha's just hit it. And even the great irony is in the Christian world, we want to be God's somebody. In the world, people are just there. They want to be someone. Doesn't everyone say to you that you meet, well, what do you do? Meaning, who are you? What kind of somebody are you? I mean, this book is so counterculture that it's just, I think that's the beauty of it. It's just in its simplicity, it's completely counterculture, both Christian and the world, in all honesty, that I've encountered. And it's so wonderful because God never called us to be anybody. He said, let me be all. Those, you don't have to have anything. He said, if you'll have nothing, then you'll have me and I'm everything. But it's just, that's the exciting part of this is we don't have to be anything. We don't have to try to be someone, even in light of the Christian culture.
And I'm smitten more than ever that he said that no man will boast in my presence. That's why God wants to be all, because he is. And when I'm nothing, he can be all. And He's proven it to me in living life, in amazing provision. Well, I'll tell you a funny story of God's provision. I have an old Lexus, and it began to give me so much trouble the battery would die. And here John would have to come over and over again to my house and start the car. And one time it quit in the middle of the highway. And I got out of the car starting to wave people down that we couldn't move. And the car stopped with 5 young men in. They immediately got out and said, "What is your problem?" And one of them, we said, "The battery's dead." But we couldn't get it into neutral to get it off the busy highway. So he goes into my car and does something and gets it into neutral. He knows a switch that John didn't even know about, that you can switch in your car somehow. John knows how to do it now, and get a car into neutral. And so they pushed it off the road. And they said, "Is this where you live?" It stopped right at my driveway. So they pushed it in the driveway and said goodbye. And we said, thank you. And off they went, happy as a lark. Nothing to them. And that's the kind of thing that has happened over again. Well, one time, John kicked the car and said, "Go away. If you're not going to serve the woman, just get out of here," to the car. And beware if John ever says this, because he's done several things that have exited the room and exited the world. So what? Okay, so my son-in-law and my daughter. My son-in-law called me and said, "Martha, we want to give you this car." And I was fretting because I was going to have to get a loan to get a car, and I was going to have to find out what to get, and it was going to be for me a real tedious thing that would, of course, would resolve onto John and Dave, and who else would be willing to help me with it. So here comes this cute little white car. And John said, "Martha, do you realize you didn't even have to go get it? It was delivered to you. All the paperwork was done for you. You didn't have to even choose and any of that."
We were actually on a riding trip when this all happened. Basically, we were gone, and the car was delivered to your house while we were gone. Came back, and there it is.
I don't know how. See, you have to be nothing and know that you deserve nothing. That's not in the book. That's a new one. Oh, we'll have to add that, Jennifer. We deserve nothing. And so we have everything when we deserve nothing. And so I've cried over that little car and loved it, and it's perfect for me. And that's only one of many stories, really. It pays. In other words, here's the sign, Jennifer. It pays to be nothing.
That has been my experience. It is utterly counterintuitive. But when I just let go, and that's all I can do, my effort really is grasping. That is the best I can produce, is grasping onto someone, something, some idea, some thought. I'm holding on to it with all my might to somehow try and make it so, make it mine, make it be, right? But when I just let go, and I'm going to put this very specifically because it matters, when I simply accept the despairing truth that I cannot, in any respect, I cannot, because I haven't got it. I can't make it work. I can't make it make sense. I can't make it happen. I can't do. In that moment where I am so low, and oftentimes just saying, "God, why do you even, I'm so sorry. Here I am again. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. I can't fix it." The Spirit is sometimes, let's just say he talks to me in a way that I understand. And I'll leave it at that because it's a little personal. But it's in those moments where it's almost like a divine duh, but not accusing. Just kind of like, "There you are, sweetheart. Hello." You've gone off, and it's like I've had this whole conversation with myself. I've had this whole deal, and God was never involved because that was never him. And as soon as I'm down there like a lump finally saying, okay, I give up. I give up. I'm sorry. Once again, it's amazing what happens at that moment. It's amazing what happens when I am in the full reality of my situation, of my being. And it is counterintuitive, but when that happens and when God speaks and moves and his love comes, I will say, because there's no longer an impediment to it. I'm no longer have a hand out on his chest saying, hold up, let me get cleaned up first. All right, I got this. I got to put my clothes away and then you can come in. No, okay? There's no longer any impediment, so he comes in. And I'm loved like I've wanted to be loved. I'm taken care of like I can't take care of myself. All of a sudden, I exist in this whole new plane. This place of just ease and joy, and it's him and me. And I don't know how else to explain it, because it shouldn't work that way. Logically, reasonably, according to... Legally. Thank you, Martha. That's the perfect word. Legally. Because I'm a lump and I haven't earned it and I haven't, I've fallen down on the job and what are you doing? Mm-mm. And he says, finally, like you would say to a 3-year-old who's pushing a mop around the kitchen and doing nothing but moving dirt from one end to the other, not making anything clean. And when the 3-year-old finally puts down the mop and says, I'm tired, can I have lunch or something? You're like, oh, finally, I get to hold you, I get to feed you, you're a delight to my heart, to my soul. I mean, think about it, So it doesn't make sense, but that is my experience every time, Martha. And this booklet, it somehow captures that. It captures that love, and the love that makes being nothing bearable. Really. Not just bearable. Maybe to be even celebrated. Enjoyed.
We hope you've enjoyed the Shulamite podcast. For all the latest from Shulamite Ministries, please visit us at Shulamite.com, where you'll find Martha's daily devotions, posts from GetAlongWithGod.com, and the online library of all of Martha's writings. At Shulamite.com, downloading the free Shulamite app is easy, and LivingChristianBooks.com is only a click away. Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover a God worth knowing.